set well by the staff. Their action makes him feel suspicious. He fails to understand the meaning behind such special treatment. Then Suo broke out in the world, killing all the men. Only those men who have been put to sleep like Reito are alive. His treatment against cellular sclerosis also makes him immune to the MK virus. "Please tell me this is some kind of prank," exclaims Reito. Suo Mira shakes her head and reaffirms to Reito, no, this is true. She takes him outside the hospital to show him around as proof of what she had told him. And she was right, Reito can only see women, there are no men. Then Suo Mira shares with him the purpose behind this special treatment. To save humanity, Reito has to mate with as many women as possible to give birth to MK virus-prone children. What? No, it can't be. Reito is out of words. How can he mate with any girl? He informs Suo Mira about Erisa and how much he loves her. Listening to this, she drops another bomb on him. Erisa has been missing for the last 3 years. She was working on finding the cure for the MK virus, but suddenly she disappeared. The news hits Reito like a lightning bolt. But she is also a woman, so the MK virus shouldn't have affected her. Reito tries to reason with Suo, but to no avail. She promises him to start a new search for Erisa. However, she doesn't guarantee any positive news. Coming back to the main topic, Suo continues that Reito is the second male immune to the MK virus due to cellular sclerosis treatment. Thus, United Women has named him number 2. After the pandemic broke out, killing all the men, United Nations was replaced by United Women to look after the worldly affairs, she further informs him. Back in a hospital room, Reito contemplates what must have happened and remembers the people he loved who are no longer alive. Then Suo comes in and takes off her clothes. Reito can't believe what is happening. She asks him to impregnate her. However, she cautions him that for the sake of humanity, he has to do it. With only women around, without any men, there is chaos everywhere. Mankind requires men, and Reito has to mate with the maximum number of women. When he inquires about artificial insemination, Suo replies that it was tried but failed. Male babies born out of the process were not MK virus immune and thus died after some time. Furthermore, she says number 1 is super busy mating with women, so why is Reito so shy? Before leaving, Suo reminds him about his new personal nurse and bodyguard, so she asks him to better get to work. The next day, Reito informs Suo that he gave Erisa his pendant with a tracking device before going to sleep. Thus, they can trace Erisa's location. While visiting her office in the hospital, Reito and Suo find it messy, as if someone has left in a hurry, leaving all the items scattered. There, he decides to continue Erisa's research of finding a cure for the MK virus, so that all the cryo-sleeping men can be saved and brought back to life. Then he informs Suo that since he has been in love with Erisa, he can't think of sleeping with any other woman. Soon, his decision to develop a vaccination for the virus becomes viral news. Everyone is happy that there is an immune system in the world that can work for the betterment of mankind. However, some are not happy too. Going through Erisa's research material in her office, Reito finds a video in which she has confessed that the MK virus was man-made, and that there were people who tried to kill others for their gains. Meanwhile, another person is ready to be awakened. He was a high school student when he was put to sleep, and his name is Doi. He was a shy and introverted guy who was constantly harassed by school bullies. One day, while taking a music class, he felt a temperature, and when he consulted a doctor, he was informed about the deadly disease he had contracted, thus the 5-year sleep. For him, it was a relief from continuous torture and pain. Therefore, he slept hoping that after 5 years, he would have more to cheer about in life. And sure it was. Doi's world changes after waking up. The new life brings more respect, attention, and love. Like others, United Women provides a personal attendant to look after him, and codenamed him number 3. He gets enrolled in his old school, though initially he also suspects his attendant's story. When he observes that he is the only guy in the school, he does begin to believe in the reality of MK virus. While back at school, he meets his old teacher, whom he used to adore, Yuzu Sensei. She welcomes him passionately, reminding him she always knew that he would come out of the deadly disease. Then she invites him for dinner. Being someone who was always looked down upon, Doi enjoys all the attention, though he is still confused about the world and the deadly disease. At night, when Doi visits Yuzu Sensei, he finds her attractive and very sensual. As they talk about life, she leans forward and kisses him. resulting in a very passionate night. This is Doi's first experience with any woman, and he enjoys it thoroughly. After informing the world about researching a vaccine along with the UW leader, Reito becomes an instant hit. He then starts a program where he interacts with the general public, informing them about his research work and progress. However, he still refrains from having sex with any woman, which is not going well with the leaders. Thus, they decide to remove Suou as his attendant, and in her place, they assign 2 attendants for Reito, Katagiri Ria and Kuroda Maria. Unfortunately, his first meeting with both of them is not pleasing. Kuroda is a researcher who has experience in the field of virology. She was assigned to Reito precisely to assist them with his research and get intimate with him. Together, they decide to travel to Keimon City, where the first case of the MK virus appeared in Japan. Reito and Kuroda share useful and important information regarding the virus during the journey. When he asks her if she believes that the MK virus was man-made, she is unsure as there is no conclusive evidence to support the claim. Reito notices that while Kuroda may be nervous talking about other issues, she is well-versed and very confident about her subject and speaks well, which is impressive. They don't find the wife of the first victim very helpful. She refuses to share any information with Reito and his team, and asks them to leave. She is still angry that the government took her husband's body and carried out their tests rather than showing respect. When they leave, she calls and talks with Erisa, informing her that her man still hasn't mated with any woman because of his love for her. The old lady forces her to meet with Reito before it's too late. However, Erisa prefers waiting for the right time. During the nighttime, a person approaches the old lady and poisons her, which worsens her condition. Before going to the ICU, she hands a photo frame to a nurse and instructs her to give it to Reito. When he receives the news in the morning, they all rush to see the old lady. Last night, she was very happy, and they were expecting some information from her today. However, they have to wait for that. Then, a nurse approaches Reito and hands him the photo frame. Surprised that the old lady left the photo frame for him, he decides to check it properly. The frame connects with the digital watch Reito is wearing, and critical information regarding the MK virus pops up. However, something is missing, ponders Reito. Coming out of the hospital room, he asks Kuroda about the slowness of the research. She replies that the authorities are not allowing her full access to the information, hampering vaccine production. She adds that the local government is only interested in developing safety criteria while the research is taking place in America, where UW's headquarters is located. In the meantime, while roaming out with his attendant, Number 1 sees Mahiro at a refugee camp and develops a liking for her. He asks his attendant to mate with her. However, the problems are that Mahiro is less than 18 and is Reito's sister. Akane and Kuroda intrude on Reito's privacy and inform him that UW may be behind the disappearance of virologists in Japan, and that he should remain cautious, otherwise he might also be targeted. So that's why Erisa disappeared, thought Reito. While on a ration distributing campaign sponsored by the UW, Reito visits a refugee camp, allowing Akane and Kuroda to set up their secret lab and try to access the confidential reports on the virus. During their research, Kuroda finds that the researchers who went missing after working with the first virus victim in Japan are at Keimon City Hospital. She screams out, saying it can be possible. They're supposed to be in America. What are they doing in Japan? She is astonished, and so is everyone sitting in the room. Meanwhile, Doi has a tough time not having Yuzu-sensei around in high school. She was the only person who understood him and with whom he had a great time. He's also uncomfortable with his attendant assigning new ladies to him every day. He's starting to feel like a guinea pig that is just being used for an experiment. Despite all the pleasures of having beautiful women around, Doi starts to feel bullied and chooses to spend some time in his favorite teacher's room. Just then, Shunka enters. She also has a tragic history of being bullied every time. She talks to him about her sufferings, and Doi feels like someone is telling his stories. He starts developing a soft corner for her, which results in a passionate and intimate time. Later in the day, Doi is informed that Yuzu-sensei has gone on leave and will return after a year or so. Realizing everything has been set up, he decides to enjoy the time rather than look for the proper lady. That night, he had a great time with Shunka. The next morning, his attendant introduces a new transfer student to the class. Her name is Hoshino. She was one of the most beautiful girls in Doi's class, and one he had a crush on. Surprised about what makes her come to the school, Doi asks his attendant about Hoshino. He says she is more than 20 years old and doesn't make the cut for a high school student. She is here because she wants to be into acting, his attendant replies. And that's only possible if you mate with her, because then she will have special consideration from United Women. This makes Doi happy, very happy. At the same time, in a refugee camp, Reito and his team are working on the information gathered by Kuroda. As per her findings, all the leading Japanese pharmacologists were disappearing from the same place where the first victim was kept. Reito claims that's because the MK virus is being manufactured there. Knowing that all his demands would be met, Doi instructs his attendant to find Erika, the girl who used to abuse him with her boyfriend. She hires Erika as a janitor in the school and informs Doi, who reaches out to her and makes her lick all his bruises to avenge their cruelties. Treating Erika in the worst possible manner, Doi keeps on living in his dream world full of pleasures. Reito and his team make their way to find the person behind the disappearances. The UW Japan branch receives information from the headquarters about their new messenger. Her past shows that she has served in the military, which alarmed Japanese administrators. Why is the headquarters sending an ex-military personnel as a messenger? Is there any covert operation? As they all ponder over the intentions of the headquarters people, they decide to play it safe and monitor her activities rather than jumping to conclusions. After reaching the old hospital building, Reito and others decide any hints which can prove helpful in their search. Suddenly, they unearthed an air duct, which was surprisingly big enough to allow a person to go through. Curious, they all enter, only to find a secret lab where pharmacologists prepare the virus. They all fall off the air duct and get caught. However, before the lab security can react, Chloe Mansfield is in charge of the UW peacekeeping operation. After hearing about Reito and his plans to develop a vaccine, she covertly enters Japan under a student exchange program. She constantly monitored what Reito and his team were up to and kept a close watch to avoid any dangerous situations. As they were discussing, they heard a rumbling sound. Chloe instructs them to leave the building immediately. Bombs have been planted in the building, and it is not safe to stay inside. They quickly leave the building and are taken away from the site by UW helicopters and cars. On their way back in the helicopter, Chloe explains that Japanese director Kilhara was hiding information from the headquarters and acting alone, which raised everyone's eyebrows, and they decided on a covert operation. The bombing of the site confirms the apprehension. The old hospital building is being used as a laboratory to develop and export the MK virus worldwide. Thus, Miss Hope, Mansfield's deputy, arrests the director and her accomplices. Chloe also informs Reito and Erisa has joined a terrorist organization that opposes UW domination in the world. Suddenly, they all hear a couple of bomb explosions. It is the high school. Chloe informs that the terrorist group is after Doi and orders immediate action. Doi wakes up in a hospital room with a doctor checking his readings. His attendant barges in and informs him that she will take him to Tokyo for safety. One of the class students receives a call from Erisa, who inquires about the plan. The student apologizes for not being able to take Doi down since he survived the attempted bombing. Erisa instructs her to leave Keimon, suspecting UW's actions any instant. However, the terrorists managed to kidnap number 4 while in his sleep. Akane knocks on Reito's door and asks him to listen to what she has to say. Once together, Akane exclaims that her mother can't be a traitor and she doesn't believe Chloe as she might bring bad news. While they are thinking about the matter, Erisa appears on the screen. Her organization has hacked the airwaves, claiming that her organization Izanami is trying to save the world from UW, who want a man-free world. Reito talks to Chloe about the situation and asks for an explanation. However, she doesn't reply to his queries and leaves abruptly. Meanwhile, Director Kilhara, Akane's mother, refuses to provide all the information, terming them confidential. Everyone is confused as to what is happening and whom to believe. Back in the room, Suou comes into Reito's room and asks him to mate with her so that she may be allowed to leave DW. However, before anything happens, Miss Hope enters and arrests them both. She has also arrested Akane and Kuroda, but they all were rescued by Katagiri. In the meantime, Doi and his attendant meet with Chloe and offer a deal. The attendant wants a higher role in DW. Will Reito and his team be able to find out the truth behind the MK virus? Let's find that in the next season. For now, leave us a like and subscribe to our channel for more. And as always, we'll see you in the next one. Peace.